design is it originates in the pots that I used to make and our business partner John used to make by hand. So their roots can be traced back from that to the pots that we made with our teachers going through apprenticeship. And I'd say that's really where we learned the sort of aesthetic ethos that we feel makes up a good pot. And that carries through today. So details like the exposed rim is a nod back to when we used to fire our plates in the wood kiln. We would leave the rim exposed so that they could be stacked on top of each other like this. So for us, simplicity and function is important, and then ideas such as fullness and volume and weight in thinking about something like a mug. There's a lot of technical considerations where you want the rim to be full and thick and have a sturdy appearance and convey that, but you want, when you pick it up, to be surprised by the weight. And so to do that, we have to kind of scoop the wall thickness down and make it thinner as it comes away from the mug. So in the beginning, it was easy because we made pots by hand on a potter's wheel, and I would throw a piece or John would throw a piece, and then we all sit around and we'd look at it and we'd talk about it, and then we would make some more. Now we usually do that same process, but then there's the step of taking that shape and putting it into the computer. So a lot of my work over the last few years has been to digitize the forms that we used to make. And in doing so, when we switched the production from a hand-thrown piece to a piece using industrial forming techniques, we didn't want to fake the hand, like we weren't trying to do this and say, well, we're still making, it still looks hand-thrown. We want it to retain some of the qualities that we find make up a good pot. A lot of the pieces that we used to make you could certainly tell that it was hand-thrown, but we tried to get the walls very smooth and straight, and we threw to the millimeter. So it was very exact, and it made for an easier transition maybe into this line, because we didn't make pieces that were all wavy and wonky. So we could kind of make that transition, but then still through that transition these pieces are not trying to be handmade anymore. We recognize the change in production processes, and that's very natural.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of your, I'd say, Mark Hewitt, the kind of the quality that he had, or the aesthetic ethos or approach to making, was to make something by hand as close to the way a machine would as possible, like really using your body consistently to make pieces that could be mistaken for a machine-made piece. And so, if anything, moving it to a machine was just kind of an extension of that same desire for uniformity and like clarity of line and
Quality control is very challenging for us. It's challenging for any business, any manufacturer that makes something. How do we maintain the sense of pride? I think it becomes very different when it's more about the leadership of an organization and how you instill that pride into the people that are making the work. And the challenges change drastically. It's not, for a lot of people out there, it's not going to be their life's work, but there's still an enormous amount of mastery that you can apply anywhere within your life when you really dig into something, and when you feel that you're part of something bigger than yourself, that you're contributing a very important piece to this whole thing. So East Fork is a mission-driven company. We're not in the business to just make something and sell it. That's because we're all sort of obscenely passionate about this weird little thing that we started. For me, I think that it translates down. So you see across the organization the dedication that people are taking to their work, whatever work that is, and it filters down. That's sort of how you are at East Fork. But even if you're running a machine, to understand the intricacies of that machine, to be able to see when something is not right, to to learn how to fix it, to troubleshoot it, you see a sense of pride in someone who suddenly has figured out this big intimidating thing and then they know it. And we want to provide a place where people can move, so they're not stuck in the same job or the same thing. And that basically looks like if you come in and you work hard and you're curious, there most likely is going to be a new position for you to open up because we're growing. And for me, that's sort of one of the big motivations for the growth, is to continue to provide these areas for people to keep expanding what they know and keep moving up and become more comfortable in their lives at work and at home.